The story of early Egyptians is inextricably linked to the mighty River Nile. As early as 7000 BC, there's evidence that humans settled along the river in small communities. Along with agriculture on the banks of the river, and just as important for survival, was the raising of cattle, hunting and fishing. At around 3000 BC, North Africa began to dry out, so more people from other parts of the continent converged on this narrow strip of land in the Nile Valley because they needed the water. Although the ancient Egyptians were almost entirely dependent on the Nile for their livelihoods, they were in a sense its master. They managed to tame the river through a system of dikes, basins and canals so they could make the most of the Nile floodwater for irrigation and also to stop it washing away their cattle and villages. The Egyptians had to anticipate when the Nile would start flooding, and so they developed nilometers to measure the depth of water. At its simplest, a nilometer was a vertical column with evenly spaced markings at intervals like this one. As farmers settled by the Nile, this inevitably meant that communities would develop. Early Egyptians had to communicate with one another all up and down the Nile Valley, and so they needed better communication and organization. Therefore, they developed writing and a system of numbers to record information that they could share. They worked out that there were 365 days in a year, which they divided into months. They also used the moon to measure the passing of a month and developed the science of astronomy to study celestial bodies.